Raelunil here, and hello and welcome to the difference between the High Elves and Elves of the Lord of the Rings Online. While all elves are immortal, fair, and wiser than mortals, there are some key differences between those called the High Elves and those merely called Elves.
Mighty foes of evil in ages past, the High Elves, whose kind once beheld the light of Valinor, have mostly departed from the world, bound for distant shores. Some remain, however, resisting the call of the sea, and using their fading power to make Middle-earth safe for days yet to come.
The kindred of the Elves dwell among the woods and dells, lingering in Middle-earth out of love for the land. Though their elder glory is diminished, and the day draws near when they must cross the sea, those who remain continue the ancient struggle against the shadow of the enemy.
As you can see, the primary difference between the High Elves and the Elves is that the High Elves are those who have beheld Valinor, the holy and sacred land of the Valar, and their descendants. Normal elves have not seen Valinor. If you're curious as to the exact names of the elvish peoples who became High Elves and those who did not, here's a handy diagram for you. The visit to Valinor caused there to be other differences between the two types of elves, so allow me to break them down for you. Visiting Valinor fundamentally changed the elves who've been there, as well as their descendants. This is why they are now referred to as High Elves, for they are more powerful and wiser than their woodland kin. What sort of power do they wield, you may ask?
If you want him, come and claim him. Nino hitaglia last of better. Rimonin ruin and danin hulaya.
No normal elf could have pulled off such a feat, but since Lady Arwen is the descendant of those who beheld Valinor, she is counted as a high elf and wields such power. Within the context of the Lord of the Rings Online, your playable high elf is stripped of much of this power thanks to being stabbed by a Nazgul at the end of the Second Age during the Last Alliance. When they awaken 3,000 years later, they are weak and relatively powerless compared to the other High Elves who haven't been through such grievous and spirit-sapping injuries. The normal elves in the Lord of the Rings Online are Sylvan and considered young by Elvish standards at the beginning of the game, and they're still youthful when the main game begins 600 years after surviving dwarvish treachery in the prologue. Other elves, in comparison, are often thousands of years old. Here are the different descriptions and statistics of each elvish race in-game. High elves, those who have beheld the beauty of Valinor and their descendants, possess grace and strength beyond even their woodland kin. Those few who remain yearn to see that Middle-earth is safe to bequeath to men before they depart for the Undying Lands. Sorrow of the Undying, reduced will. You have witnessed the passing of ages and still feel the hurts of those lost in the battles of the elder days. Fading of the Firstborn, reduced fate. The time of the elves in Middle-earth is nearly at its end. Peace of the Eldar, increased morale and morale regeneration. In times of peace, your vitality and spirit are renewed more swiftly than those of the younger races of the world. Suffer no illness. Improved resistance to disease and poison. Elves do not suffer illness. Long ago, the elves welcomed the younger races of Middle-earth and allied with them when the need was great, but centuries of war, betrayal, and hardship have made them fiercely protective of their seclusion. Sorrow of the Firstborn, reduced morale and morale regeneration out of combat. Elves feel things more deeply than the other races and are more subject to sorrow. Agility of the Woods, improved agility. The grace of the Eldar is remembered in legend. Fading of the Firstborn, Reduced fate. The time of the elves in Middle-earth is nearly at its end. Suffer no illness. Improved resistance to disease and poison. Elves do not suffer illness. In conclusion, the primary difference between the High Elves and the Elves is that the High Elves have either beheld Valinor or are descendants of those who have, and the normal Elves have not yet seen Valinor. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you've all enjoyed. Have fun over on the end screen! Alright, I'm going to be ending this video here. I hope that you've all enjoyed it. Please be sure to give it a like, leave a comment, and to use the links on screen in order to subscribe to my channel, support my Patreon campaign, and check the links in the description in order to find other ways to support me, such as following me on social media and joining my glorious Discord server, Raelunil's Army. I hope to see you all there and in the next video.